go.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
in the first half of the morning game.
What's the red there?
So you're this one.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I must say
Yep.
So what's the other one here?
That one's turned off.
I guess I'm like, if I was like you, Andy.
Yep.
Okay.
I've turned all the others off, and you've just got that one channel.
Okay. So you've adjusted the cameras, have you?
Cool.
But seeing it in 3 meters, I'm a bit more confident. What about you?
Maybe see how you feel about that.
Welcome to day 2 of our underwater hockey tournament. In progress at the moment in Pool 2, we have 2 Masters games, the MM2 group and the MM5 group. We don't have a name list for this mixture of different players from different areas who want to come and have a crack at underwater hockey.
Well, I've seen. I must say, I have seen a lot of the teams play so far, and I think they've all used the width of the pool to, I guess, to their advantages and disadvantages.
Looks like the white team are dominant, being 8 love at this stage of the game. We're late in the first half. First thing in the morning, the water's lovely and clear. Cameras have been realigned to show the best part of the play before the referees get in and kick them around. Best time to be viewing a game of underwater hockey.
Silver medalist from the junior team is playing in the West Australian first go in this one. So she was pretty excited. I saw her in the pool yesterday. She was jumping for joy. Excited to play. Long stay, Michaela Nominations playing.
Players just enjoying their half-time break. Changing ends, getting ready to go again.
1,000 miles an hour. Claire Ford, long stay. Remember Claire from the junior days. How long have you, Amy, in the junior days back then? Claire's in there. Haley Dign's making a return back to the game. Megan Biffins, I don't think Megan's playing. Number 12, 14, and as I said before, Zoe. And we have halftime, 2-all in this women's division. And Coach Josh McKenzie making his coaching debut officially. I think this is the first time he's actually lining up for the Tasmanians. We've got Victoria, or known to most people as Tori with him. Number 3, Janet Talbot. 4, Sandy Compton, West Australian Lumber Girl. Tasmania now, Captain Hannah Tizzo. Eliza's game. She's in pink, Molly. 7, Blighty. Silver, 8, Hunt. I think Gabby's playing in this game today. She's sitting this one out. Number 10, Olivia Sanderson. 11, Vessel has made some interesting touring. She's been playing a lot of the Australian rugby for the ladies in Europe recently, and she's come back to the long-time Tasmanian player. The first half was sort of even Stevens, as one would say. It was dominated by West Australia. On the top of the Tasmanians was can't hear Amy. Yeah, sorry. We only have one mic and it's right by my ear. But next time I'll get a little closer to Amy if she listens.
Okay, only about 45 seconds to go to the start of the game. The young lady you can see on the left of your screen is having a big competition. She played last game last night and she's up in the first game this morning. We've got the left team, the Masters 2 are white. They'll be going from the left of your screen. And to the right of your screen, we've got the Masters 5 with the black sticks.
Known for his turtle wrangling skills.
Turtle wrangling skills, I've been told, whispered in my ear by the one and only Chief Director of Underwater Hockey. The teams are getting their spokenness too by their receptacle coaches. Jake Whelan for Tassie and Josh McKenzie for WA. And they're got 19 seconds before the restart, and making their refereeing debut at these nationals is Jess McGowan as chief referee.
Yeah, I do.
It's a good one. We watched one of the games last night that you commentated for
Oh,
us, and
oh,
we
yeah.
loved it.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
like,
okay.
it was one of our yeah,
Oh,
feel free to
it's,
just
yeah, I chip in occasionally. It's hard. It's hard with these guys. I don't know them at all. Oh, yeah, but here we've got a massive breakaway here from the white team, and a great goal.
people love to hear your voice,
Yeah.
Stu.
Okay. The I guess after that late goal in the first half, the Masters 5 were looking forward to a goal, but they'll be put back in their box now, wondering what they can do to combat this fearsome team with a young lady on the other side. Okay, we've got a change of costume from the referee here. We've got a trying to find their way through here. Well defended. You can see by the mixtures of bathers here, we've got a range of players from different states in the one team, which is good to see in underwater hockey. Fiercely competitive, but happy to change allegiances any time. Another nice goal by the white team. I think they need to manage some bit more funding for recruiting, see who else they can bribe to come and play for their team in the next game. Black still making a fight of it here, pushing through strongly. sure what the hold up is here. I've got a timeout.
We had a timeout called in from Tasmania as their coach Nate Whelan probably didn't like something. He's going to go out and try and fix it because spent most of the time in between things to fix.
Although someone's kicked camera 8, knocked it out of alignment.
41 seconds, and both Josh and Nathan had a chat to the girls. And see Josh there pointing in all sorts of directions and trying the girls to listen. Nathan just trying to
Someone struck her.
compose the girls in defense and move them forward to do a little bit more work in supporting the strong defensive line.
Someone's whacked camera 8, put it out of alignment again. Up to your careful work. We need to have a good chat to all the players and the refs, I think.
To you live this morning.
Could we just move them back a little bit?
Yeah.
It is Wednesday.
Even just the ref being a little bit off to one side.
Wednesday the 10th.
You get a lot of views of backsides, which you don't really need.
Time flies when you're having fun. We're in January. We're getting ready to start.
It's just a Masters game.
Yeah, that's right.
Free puck and it's knocked down early in the front line by the Tasmanians. And we have another call, obviously.
Still got 30 seconds to go on the timeout.
Call was, and it looks like it's against. I'm seeing just a lot of pointing.
Hope White have got all those, Black have got all those issues resolved. And they're ready to come back strongly for the last, 9 minutes, nearly 10 minutes.
Equal puck, so obviously it was knocked down equally by the people, and the referees have decided there's no advantage to anyone, so we're playing equal puck and straight down on that. I couldn't tell the others, but I take a ponder. That looked like the strong legs of Hannah Robertizzo dropping down really quickly to get that puck. Equal plays is again, once again, West Australia is taking control at the midline, linking up in through the center. You've got Alice Vanderwood intercepting that pass sneakily in her sneakily way and feed it back to Dan, who passes it forward. And again, leaving that Cameron Biggs. What is it about track and duels? Just don't like being on camera, Amy? Is that why they like playing in that area, or is that just the way of the game? It's the way of the game. As we got another run at the goal tray, and it looked like Eliza game there with her left leg kicking.
White's excellent at setting up their positions in all these players. Their defence is spot on. They know there'll be a player there when they turn and pull back and pass. Black just hopes they get lucky, I think.
Sarah Walker there cut it off really well as Variety has given it back to Tori, who's making a strong run towards the goal tray, and she was well defended by the West Australian. Not 100% sure who that was. Looked like number 7, Willie McGovern. But with the lack of light coming in from the roof here, it is a lovely complex, but the lighting in the complex, the air circulation is good, but the lighting is a bit dark, which makes it a bit difficult for us in the camera quality, because for those camera buffs out there, as Jack Robertizzo explained to me in the car this morning, a lot of the lux isn't getting through down through that deep water. And we've got a goal in here. Is it? Yes, it looks like a free puck. Goal to Tassie. We got signals 1, 2. Now we got one referee going. Yes, a goal. The one referee had to think about it a bit, but he gave a signal goal. 3-2.
Nice bit of play there.
And there we go. I mean, that's
Easy goal.
80% of that. Well, I said 90%.
The Black team have got a bit of a predatory attitude. They really just wait for
Win-back, 1 minute later,
the Black team to make a mistake and pounce on it, take advantage.
even in 3 meters.
Need a different sort of mindset depending on what game you're playing, whether you're attacking or you're just waiting to pick up a weakness and strike through an available opportunity. They're pretty good at doing both, this White team. No, they got a puck for their Black got a puck for the work, so they weren't happy with that challenge.
Like there's another goal into the tray because Alice Vanderwood put her bat on that, and it just, she held it in there, and my understanding is the referees made 1, 2, 3, we have a goal. West Australia will be very surprised
Can't show you the tray details for this one because the camera's been kicked out of alignment, unfortunately. We'll get in there and fix that as soon as we can.
Now the girls playing double round robin. Amy, they're playing a double round robin, and there's 5 women's teams here playing. Yes, and we have a lot of international players here. I think that's nothing but goodness for Australian hockey.
Black's not giving up. They're driving it across to the wall, trying to get it out of there.
Who sort of sit in our hip pockets and we're in their hip pockets.
White trying to swim it around.
Players of, I think we've got Rachel Bell from the UK is playing here with her partner, long-term partner, Alistair Hickey, and she's playing not only in the open division, but she's also playing in the women's, one of the Amazon teams that are here. For the New South Wales Amazons, we have some Colombian players here with Kata, who is actually living in Australia and married to one of the captains as we see the game back on play. And I must say, and even with some of the guys here, we have a lot of Colombians and some New Zealand. We have a couple of Americans here. I think there's an American lady playing as well. And that's just
That was another goal to White team. You notice we've got a different percussion instrument for the
still continuing their dominance of puck.
referee calls. There must be some malfunction with the electronic signalling device. We've gone over to manual.
Allison Van
Very reliable, banging a bit of metal with another bit of metal.
Hannah. I keep calling her Robert Tizzo because I don't want to call one Jackie or Hannah, but I'll say Hannah this time. Good drive by the West Australians. But again, the defense, and that looked like Nana Talbot there to clean that up. They moved to the side. The referee obviously didn't like Hannah stealing this and signaling a bit of a stick infringement. And this Tasmanians will be next to back.
Black are pretty determined to get a goal here, but they've been driven back to the wall.
Referees line it up again, and they have that 3-meter zone along the line in.
Need someone out wide to make sure there's not a fast break down the other side.
Down in their traditional head stance. And we've got there's a middle of the pool there. Danger for the Tasmanians, but the defense where they can. Defense can do a lot of work in there, and a lot of support there. And I think May's words to the girls help out those defensive girls has paid off because obviously we see a 2-goal switch around there, and we've got 4-2 Tasmanian, who are in white.
Referee's not happy here. Something's happened.
We're coming to you live from
Looks like being a free puck to
Perth Aquatic Centre, and I just have one or two sure
the Black team.
Aquatic Centre, big sponsors of the facilities, and it's a lovely facility. They got a large diving pool, which we're playing part of it, where I think water polo playing. They have a water polo pool on the side. They got a main competition pool where
No, to the White team.
masters are playing. They have the 20s and the 19s, and the masters players are playing in the 2-meter pool.
That was a nice gentle flick into the pack then. We've had a bit of trouble. A couple of players have been hit by a big flick from a free puck. Had one injury. Yep.
Stu McCowan. Sorry, Stu. I called you Sam.
Okay.
Yeah, he's doing the calling over that. Sorry, Stu.
Okay.
We enjoyed your commentary last night in our game. It was really good and enlightening, and we enjoyed it. That was really good. Good work.
Which game was it?
It was I believe it was the Tasmania versus New South Wales 3 game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was
This is
good.
a Masters game.
No, it was over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
you did really
Oh,
well.
good. Yes.
I was in a free puck call, and the Tasmanians lining up to tell you when they're having their left hand. on the
Just
goal.
getting complimented my commentary. I think I've been confused with someone else. I think it was probably Matt Hoskins. He did a great job. He was right into it.
Yeah, it looks like the West Australian. It's number 8, and Michaela. As I said before, she's a fast and furious player, and because of that fast and furiousness, she does have a tendency to get into people's way, and the referees sometimes don't like it, and they've given her a 1-minute timeout. She's having a timeout as the Tasmanians take the puck, look to drive it. It looked like it was Tori took that free puck, got it out of the side. It looks like the West Australians have picked it up and moving it wide. In Australian typical open style hockey where we move it from side to side, use the width
Just when Black nearly had a break, there was no one there to pick up the pass. They've done all that work, but they just can't quite follow on.
down there trying to interrupt the Tasmanian drive is the West Australian.
And an easy swim. Nice fast breakaway.
Sarah Walker, who's done a lot of the organization in this community. She commended with her partner Josh and Junkie and their team putting this together.
Oh,
Never easy task.
bit further damage to camera 8.
Kudos to them. She's in there doing her bit for West Australia, clearing it out from the Tasmanian side. So well done,
6 is okay, 7's okay, 8's Cactus.
straight to the tray, and it's gone in the goal tray.
So apologies, you won't be able to provide the
Confirmation by the three referees.
more goals from the than the white team. Have to hope we can enjoy one from the black team here.
With 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go in the
Let's see what they can do in the last 55 seconds.
does not give us any real indication.
They're having a crack.
I believe, in my rudimentary statistics here, we probably had 80% of the play in the Tasmanian 5 to 6 meter D. It's just the last couple of minutes the Tasmanians have had the upper hand.
They've been driven away.
A lonely 1 minute for a timeout as the game starts again. Tasmanians are hot on that to try to
Can't help there. Look, sounds like a goal.
she's pretty anxious to get back in. She sits back down on the side as you have to do each comes as the Tasmanians. I'm afraid popped in another one, but it looks like it's been cleared to the side. There's no call, so it hasn't gone in the goal tray. So it was a strong
And that looks like being game over.
to join the play, and we're over 6-on-6.
Well done to the White Masters.
Driving in the last 30 seconds, and I think it's gone in the goal tray this time, maybe. And it has. Waiting for the refs. We got 3. It is scored. But I'm not catching any of the numbers. We scored the goal, so I'm sorry I can't bring that. But I can tell you that Tasmanian. The refs were right there on the play. So if there's any
And welcome back. We have game 26, the under-19s, New South Wales versus WA. I'm slightly confused by the tags here. It does say WA under-19 women playing against New South Wales mixed, it looks like. So I'm not all over the junior division, so I'm not sure if they do have a women's team playing in the mixed division or what the plan is. They do. Yeah, looks like they do. There you go. So the WA women's team is just jumped in there with the Open Junior division as well. So good on them. And they have conceded early on, but it did take them a while, so they're playing well. No worries. There's Maddie Kennedy. You can see skinny little frame on the left-hand side of the frame, just pushing that puck up against that wall into the contest. Evan Wang sitting out in the outside lane there, waiting for some puck, not arriving. There's Maddie again, that number 8 cap with the VC on. That's classic him. Kind of, he sits from that seagull position and likes to strike at the puck quite high. Can be successful for him. Can also cost him a lot. Because of course, if you're sitting up high and you miss that hit, the puck will skid underneath you, and you've given up your body position really early on in that contest. So a good shot there of the referees. Lower regions there, obviously doing a great job. I think that's Dave Hilda, just blocking the camera nicely. Trying to keep it ambiguous for you guys at home, just a bit of mystery in the game, just so just to keep a bit of anticipation. Maybe it's not as clear cut as you might like. Just all part of the showmanship here at the national championships and part of the streaming service we're putting on for you. And now this is a very concerted drive by the New South Wales team. And they're pushing it straight up into the centre, the throat of the WA goals, and it's just been pounded in the back of the tray there. Well done by New South Wales. I couldn't see who's put that in, but a good concerted effort, and they've converted that drive early on. WA women's team doing well to hold it out as long as they did, and a great effort from those guys. It's always tricky. Always tricky once that straight drive ends up at that kind of top of the 6-metre D and you're under a lot of pressure. You've got to find those outlets wide, and you've got to do it collectively. If one person starts to drive outside of the tray, it's got to be continued, otherwise you'll end up conceding pretty early on. That's a great win there by the WA centre forward. I think that's Samantha Blackham there. If I can check the hat numbers, but I don't have a brochure, so of course, just guessing at this point. Let's call it Sam. She's won the strike, laid it back, and it's ended up in New South Wales top defensive corner against the hard wall. Of course, the hard wall, a little bit harder to work against, gives you more to lever off and stuff. Really dangerous place for New South Wales, who are now defending at the top of their 6-metre D, and they've taken control and are driving it back up towards that halfway line, getting out of their territory and taking the pressure off, putting WA on the back foot, forcing their forwards to turn around and chase backwards, which of course in any team will take the defensive pressure off your backs early on. So well done New South Wales. More pressure down the left-hand side again from WA, who've recovered the puck. Sam Blackham again taking control of that centre corridor and just dishing back nicely to her halfback, who's doing some good concerted drive. It's really good to see from these junior players too that they've got their heads up as they're moving forward. It's the absolutely fundamental is that you can get your head up and have a look and be aware of what's going on. As WA women now driving into that top left corner. And then nicely on this 45, and I do like to see this, but look, Maddie Kennedy's just come out and he's hit that puck hard. And a nice sandwich there from Maddie Kennedy. And he's still got it, holding in the centre of the pool, and he's found his outside forward, who's just taken maybe a bit too long, looking around, trying to find a connection, and he's just had his pocket picked. Oh, there we go. The refs have called that one up and just... Yeah. Rob, number 11 there of a breakaway goal. He's going to look disappointed. That took a lot out of him. You can tell emotionally as well as physically. He's recovering there on the surface, maybe having a word to the referee about exactly what that call was and why it was so important to be brought all the way back to camera 7 now in the centre of the corridor. Looks like the refs are setting up for a New South Wales free. Or maybe not. Hard to tell what's going on out there. Chaos on the pool deck. We're looking at now penalty goal signal. Oh, a 2-on-1. So it's all happening here. So we've got number 10. I think that's young Jack. He'll be defending this 2-on-1. WA keen to get on the scoreboard. Let's see how it plays out. Jack kept his hand on the wall nicely. He's sprung out and it's gone in straight underneath him. That's a great execution from the WA women. They've just slotted in, and Jack can't be happy with that. And it's always tricky a 2-on-1. He's having a quick word to Dave Hilder, the referee. Dave Hilder's laughing about it. Obviously, it's all very amusing to him. He doesn't realise how serious this whole situation is. As the players reset here, it's 2-1 with the WA women just sneaking in that 2-on-1 penalty to bring the game back into contention. It'll be interesting to see how New South Wales rallies at this point. I can see Maddie Kennedy sacking the big ones on the side of the pool. Interesting to see if WA can keep contesting the centre forward, and it's been pulled back and taken out to the left-hand side for WA. They are controlling the swim-off, which is giving them a lot of forward momentum, and New South Wales consistently having to kind of recover. And they're playing this high-energy brand, New South Wales. As you can see here, the forward really, really hammering the WA outside half, who's just really, really relaxed and happy just to curl it off and take control. And you can see it's a real different in the mental mindset of these two teams, that kind of ability to maintain composure when under pressure. But New South Wales just throwing a lot of bodies, a lot of energy at the puck. You can see that same number 4 halfback taking control of that puck again, as we saw before, and distributing it back down that wall, and just looking to slow the game down, looking to lock it up, and make sure that puck doesn't go anywhere it doesn't need to go. And letting forwards, of course, get down around that puck. It is in one of those classic dead zones at the moment, but I imagine it's just sitting congested on that wall. Nothing much. Maybe someone's going in there and poking at it pretty viciously. It's not really moving too much. It's not too exciting. You guys aren't missing out on much at all. So at the 5-minute mark, 5 minutes to go in this half. 2-1 with New South Wales in white maintaining control as WA takes their free. I imagine they'll be looking to take it off that wall and into that open space. Of course, Evan Wang is looming there. Evan Wang, who is being called the next Nick Young, a young New South Welshman from northern Sydney. He's a good kid, but his attitude's all wrong. He's got this raw talent that he refuses to tame. And almost good on him at some point. And there he goes. You've seen him. He's picked up the puck. And he's so dangerous when it's on his puck, but he's managed to distribute there. So actually using his teammates for once. I'm very surprised that wasn't actually a goal from Evan Wang. He's a player with that sort of capacity. And as New South Wales recycle into that top right corner, and they're just looking at that concerted drive, and they pull it out across the trail. It looks like a WA player trying to actually clear it. Sam Blackham again in the middle there, and it's spilled across that corner. New South Wales looking to shove it in there. Not quite enough juice as the WA backline manages to clear it and swim it down that back line, along that back wall and out to safety again. Really good recycle from WA. They've always got someone behind the puck, and they're always happy to hold it there and just defend. It's really good phase 1 play from these guys. Any young juniors out there, notice the composure from WA. They're just happy to keep recycling it, keep that puck, even if they don't have it on their bat. They're controlling the area around the puck, so New South Wales can't actually capitalise on their possession as that is driven up along that outside wall. Imagine still in defensive third for WA, but we can look at that halfback and the movement from her. We can tell that WA looking to release, as we can see the play now moving into that centre centre section of the pool, and looks like WA controlling that outside space and really running that side. And it's really good to see the halfback was right there behind that wing, so it's really good discipline from the WA team as they are rewarded with a lot of space and time. And now straightening straight up into phase 3, a little bit too early there, and just putting in that loose flick. There wasn't someone to receive it. There wasn't an outside safety to contain it. So the risk is you throw that pass, it gets cleaned out to the outside. You hold on to it for a few more seconds, let that right wing settle into position, and that pass can't be ejected, and chances are you end up with a goal, particularly at this level. And see, again, WA just controlling the pace of the game from the back line. This would be frustrating the New South Wales team, particularly those big playmakers in Matty Kennedy and Jack Hopkins at the back. But now that's a concerted drive from WA towards that left-hand corner of the goal tray. New South Wales not going to be happy with that, but they have swept it off and out to that outside corner, where they'll be able to reset. You can see on screen now a lovely bit of kind of matted hair floating in the left-hand side now, just interrupting the flow of the puck there as that outside player, the WA halfback, is curling it back towards the centre and looking for their support, but it's been picked up by a New South Welshman who's turned on the taps, with the refs again spoiling Christmas with a call right on the breakaway, and it looks like that is against New South Wales, and Ben Sandwich Skepkovic calling a timeout for his team. Looks like the refs haven't seen that. Benny's getting frustrated. He's in the court now. He wants to talk to his players. Dave Hilder still looking confused. He's having a word to a few of the players, holding his hands up, trying to reset a line and things. Obviously, Dave Hilder hasn't quite realised actually that the game has been turned into a timeout. And finally, the message has been passed around as the discussion starts now with Sandwich. I imagine he's telling his troops just to cool it. But you can see there's a little bit of contention in the ranks there. You got players talking to referees and things during the timeout, which is always a sign of a bit of discontent. Really, they need to shut up and they need to listen to what their coach has to say. Why is Master Sandwich there? Very experienced player himself, and great man in the underwater hockey world, known for, of course, for his sandwiches and his work with foxes, doing a lot on that feral species in particular. He's a great guy, quite handsome. Can't grow a good beard, which is always, I think it's been something that's held him back through a lot of his life. But here we go with WA taking that free puck, and it's just getting deflected nicely. So whatever Master Sandwich has communicated to his team has been taken on board. As the drive continues up the right-hand wall, New South Wales look like they've just been stalled there by the WA backline yet again. And they've got a bit of overlap behind that puck. It looks like Evan Wang has got his little bat on the orange, and he's turning and looking for support on the inside. Not finding it as yet. He does have an outside player, a winger there, just lurking in space, but being underutilised as it is, as that puck moves slowly but surely down the right-hand side towards the WA goal tray. I'm just slightly disorientating as a commentator because I'm on the opposite side to the cameras. So as I'm looking out at the surface of the pool, the play's actually moving the opposite direction to what I'm looking at in the cameras. So it can be somewhat confusing, but regardless, for you guys, you can see now driving back down to the right-hand corner towards the WA goal tray, and New South Wales just continuing that same kind of rolling maul, that pick and roll play that's given them a lot of space, but they're hit again by that halfback who's just swooped in, claimed that puck and redistributed it nicely. I'm not sure who that young WA player is on the outside, number 4, but she's doing a lot of work. It is Natalie Edel? Yeah, Natalie Edel doing a lot of work on that outside. It's good to see from her. Jack Hopkins now lining up. Strangely enough, he does usually play centre forward, but it looks like he's been shuffled into the fullback spot, or he's doing the ultra arrogant, taking it. And that's number 8 from WA, just a little bit of wriggle in the head. Obviously you can get a bit of swimming speed out of your head for all your young players. If you wriggle your head as you swim, you do get a little bit extra speed. As WA clear it out to that defensive corner where they love to keep it locked in. I'm just kind of panning through the booklet at the moment so I can actually have a look at the play sheet while we're going. But that is half time, and I'm going to put the mic down for a little bit and drink my coffee and just get orientated. So score now is 2-1. New South Wales just keeping a slim lead on WA, who who are controlling most of the puck for this game and just slowly getting driven back. So stay tuned for the second half.
Stephen, but I say I give a little upper hand. Obviously, 4-2 Queensland, but they had a bit more of the pressure.
Here we go. Welcome back to second half of game number 26 in the under-19 division. New South Wales versus WA under-19 women. It's been an interesting game back and forth here. As I was just talking to Zoe Canavan in the commentary box, she just reminded me that several of these women's players are also playing in the elite men's division. But looks like Jack Hobson's with a massive sandwich there. He has diverted away from the goals. I'm not sure if he meant to do that, but sometimes when the sandwich presents itself, you do just grab hold of it and you shove it down your gob, whether you're hungry or not. But yeah, as Zoe Canavan was reminding me, several of these girls are playing in the elite women's as well, and you can really see them standing out. So number 4 was Natalie Airedale, in that half-back position. Maggie Biffin, of course, with the captain on her arm, controlling that centre corridor from I assume the fullback position. And that's really solidifying this WA women's team and really giving them a lot of that grunt. It's allowing them to control the game to this point. New South Wales, a lot of energy. They need a little bit more direction. They need a little bit more composure, particularly in attack. And they need to remind themselves that it's not so much an individual game. They just need to be patient at the top of the D and wait for the opportunity to come rather than forcing it. It looks like New South Wales now putting in a concerted drive there. Evan Wang, who's actually coughed that puck up, and Jack, the same thing, is coming in just a little bit too hot. Instead of consolidating that possession and swimming and looking and waiting for that space to open up, he's tried to force it, and he's being punished there by a good WA backline. Evan Wang there just ripping it, gripping it, and distributing to his outside player. Unusual for Wang again that he didn't just go himself. Slightly disappointing from my perspective. I do like to see the Wang properly unleashed, blood in the water, etc. But it looks like now WA still just really holding the New South Wales team up against that right hand wall as they drive down into that corner, and I imagine they'll be looking to recycle it out and run, and then look for 45s as they cross the tray. And they've been successful scoring like that already once in this game. So New South Wales have to be careful here. But it looks like New South Wales have taken control of that contest. They're trying to bring it out and wide, but they've actually had the puck fleeced off them as they came across. Jack Hopkins there working hard for his team, reaping it back and finding a good pass. Number 11 from New South Wales there, working hard. He was the guy that had his heart broken on that breakaway that was disallowed, and actually went from a New South Wales certain goal breakaway to a 2-on-1 which WA scored. So controversy again, the refs really inserting themselves into this game. Evan Wang there, again passing back and maintaining possession for his team. Good hockey, not great to watch, but there you go. Matthew Kennedy now ripping it off that wall, zooming into the centre channel. He's going to be looking for a pass as soon as he can. And if he's patient, he will find it as New South Wales drive into the centre of that tray, and this should be a goal. WA just pinning on that corner. New South Wales desperate to put some pressure off. Where's that halfback coming in from the outside? And that halfback should be maybe a little bit disappointed there. They didn't read that coming out and across that tray. It was a really predictable move from WA. It wasn't going to go anywhere else. So if he'd actually managed to get himself in position and lie in front of that tray, it would have just been money for jam as it got cleared. But that's not the way the cookie crumbled in this particular instance. And it's been cleared by WA, and they're working their way up that defensive wall again. Very disciplined from WA. They've got a really well-established pattern in defence that they'll clear it from the tray wide, diffuse that forward pressure from New South Wales, and then drive it to about the halfway line or about a third of the way of the pool, and then take it out and start moving in the space again. So really clinical from WA. They are a goal down, but they're playing a nice brand of hockey, and they're keeping control of that outside corridor, which is always good to see for an Aussie team trying to play 3-2-1. That's a mark of a team that's in control, no matter what the scoreline says. As WA driving down that right hand wall, I imagine they'll be looking to use that inside player and transition into a forward line switch any moment now. As you can see them pulling it up and maybe getting caught in a contest with New South Wales a little bit that they really don't want to be. You've got some strong bodies in the New South Wales team. We're talking about Evan Wang a lot in this game, and the man's an animal. As he moves it into that centre corridor, looks like a concerted drive from New South Wales. Couldn't see who it is. Might have been that number 11 who's just probably an emotional wreck at this point. He's had several of these pucks stripped off him as he's charged at that goal tray. It's always hard to come back from that mentally, but he keeps having a crack, and maybe he'll get a goal at some point in his career, which will mean all the pain will be worth it. Evan Wang again driving that centre corridor, just being deflected there nicely, I think, by that WA halfback. Airedale again. He's doing a great job, not only with the vice-captain role, but it looks like New South Wales have managed to square one through in that centre corridor. It's always dangerous. That drive comes in that vulnerable section. It's not fully on the wall. It's not in the centre corridor. It's kind of the in-between area, and it can be a bit awkward for defenders to get down on their line and defend. So New South Wales putting another goal, and all that kind of forward pressure is finally rewarded for them. But hats off to WA, who've honestly controlled a lot of this puck, and they're just being punished a few times by a lot of forward pressure from New South Wales. New South Wales junior team apparently playing very similar to their senior teams, and they just like to put a lot of speed behind the puck, a lot of forward pressure, and they force your backline to turn, and when your backline's turn and back tackling, it steals your forward momentum and cuts your forwards out of the game a little bit until they can, even if they do end up with good possession, it's hard to find your forwards because you're facing the wrong direction. And it means that forward pressure keeps coming because as you swing backwards, there's low threat for your forwards to put pressure on you and keep that backwards press going. So if WA really want to diffuse that, they actually need their backs to carry the puck, to put forward pressure on, and that'll turn their forwards and allow their WA forwards to get involved. But we'll see if we can. We'll see if WA can really crack that. They're doing everything right though. It's just, I think it's frustrating for them because that pressure is just relentless from New South Wales. another win for WA off the strike, but not being rewarded for it in this instance as they take it out to the outside. Good puck control there from that outside player, that winger, but just those long, lanky arms from that New South Wales number 11 stealing the puck back as Jack Hopkins goes inside his own bum and swims out and distributes to the centre corridor, which is good. Obviously, young Master Sandwich has talked about using more outlets, particularly wide. And here's another good concerted drive from straight to the centre of the tray. And I'd be surprised if this doesn't end up in the tray. But again, WA almost defending that on the outside, but this time that New South Wales winger has learned her lesson and has buried that particular puck deep in the tray. So good on her. I think that forward pressure is finally playing off. WA now no longer able to control that scrimmage in the centre, and they're being punished for it at this point as it comes out. It does take a lot of energy to contest that sort of play, and when you do lose it, that momentum shifts pretty rapidly, and you can concede pretty quickly, which is exactly what we've seen in the last kind of 5 minutes. Just a couple of quick goals. No, I couldn't see who scored it. I think it was an outside player, that winger, who I didn't recognise. But WA are going to need to really put in a concerted effort to stay in this game. It's hard for them too because they are doing everything right, and they have just succumbed to that pressure a couple of times. And there's that number 11 just with a massive amount of Delfino coming out. A lot of power, a lot of speed. Maybe not a lot of thought to exactly what he's trying to achieve, but at this point, he's been successful with 2 New South Wales players just driving it at the centre of the tray, and that's unlucky it hasn't gone in. We've got a ref's call of some sort. I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to call that a goal. It's kind of slid on a bum, but apparently not, with New South Wales being pushed back there. So WA free. Dave Hilda's hand up, and I can't see. He's got his snorkel in his mouth. He's not doing the painted a Dave Hilda kind of snigger at that point. Let's see what WA plan to do with this, and looks like they've gone straight back into that contest where New South Wales are really strong, but then they've pulled it out, so they've actually drawn at least even the commentary team at that point with that particular play, but they've actually, a slight fumble has meant they've been caught up in that New South Wales pack, and it's a bit unclear who's actually in control of this movement, as it's ended up on the outside in the New South Wales defensive corner, but it's on a New South Wales bat, so they'll be happy with that, but it's immediately possession has been switched back to WA, who are a great forward line switch and putting pressure on that back line again, and they've got the numbers to the breakdown. But the refs have seen something they didn't like and they've called it up. 5 minutes to go. There is still time if WA really find something special in there, but I don't think Master Sandwich will let his team drop this particular ball. You can see him there on the sideline, grinning like a 6-inch sub at this point. As WA feed another puck into that maul, I'm not sure about their strategy here on the free pucks. They seem to be struggling in the contest, but still feeding it. At some point, they need to go back to that lateral movement that they were having some success with earlier in the game, and that patient hockey. But it's good on these girls. It's always hard in junior hockey to maintain patience, particularly when you're a few goals down, and you're up against a very feisty New South Wales team, putting a lot of forward pressure on you. But they have at this point to lock it in that corner and see if they can find some outside movement once they've committed some New South Wales players to that scrimmage. You can see him here, that BC for WA, moving it beautifully again, and taking control of that puck as they move it through the centre corridor. But it looks like New South Wales have ended up with that puck, and they're doing a very kind of high-risk flat switch, which WA have picked up and are now recycling it back towards their own, back towards that centre of the tray, and it's just moving in a very dangerous kind of place across the 6-metre D. It's always hard as a back. It's moving back and forward across your 6-metre D. To set a good defensive line, if it's always moving off your line of attack, it disrupts your 3-way rotation, and you can actually end up with a gap if you come across that corridor too many times. Of course, for the offensive team, if you're moving across that corridor too much, you are allowing time for the defensive forwards to drop in and close you off. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword for both teams there, but at the moment just deadlocked there for WA, and it looks like they've just managed to pull it across that centre corridor again, and then it's another recycle into the centre of the tray. But there's just so much traffic there. It's a really hard thing to do. They actually need to drag the New South Wales defenders a little bit further to take them out of the zone and then roll that puck over. You want to actually, for all those juniors out there, you want to actually swim your defender off the line of attack. So you take them outside the lines of the tray, but that's been put in beautifully there. I couldn't see who put that in. It was a great flick. It did look like Natalie Airedale, but I had to claim it. Number 2, perhaps, is the signal. Who's number 2? There is no number 2. No, number 12, Maggie Biffin. That makes sense. That was a fist for 10 and 2 fingers for 2. So Maggie Biffin putting that in. A great flick from a long way out and just capitalising on that constant pressure at the top of the 6-metre D. So, like I was talking about before, you move it across that 6-metre D long enough, there is a gap will emerge. It's exactly what happened, and Maggie Biffin just seeing that gap and putting a good puck through. But it looks like it's a timeout now. Timeout now for WA, and looks like the coach is going to come out and have a chat to them about how they're going, and I wouldn't imagine he'd be too disappointed. I'd maybe talk about dragging those lines out a little bit further. Dragging those lines out a little bit further and forcing those New South Wales defenders to actually track with the forward outside the line of attack and then recycle it. So as you come back in, there's a lot less traffic and you just increase your probability of putting a goal in. But they got their goal, so perhaps I'm wrong, he's right. Either way, it's the game is potentially still out of reach for WA. They'd need another goal, I'd suggest, in the next couple of minutes to really contend this to the end. But we'll see what they've got. It will take a monumental effort. New South Wales, of course, will come out hard too after that goal, and we can see that here in the contested centre forward. In the centre forward winning it, sliding it back to Evan Wang, who's doing some good beast mode stuff, and just cycling it back again defensively, which slightly disappointing from Evan Wang again on a personal note. I do like to see the Wang when he goes full ham. But no ham from the Wang in this particular point as that drive comes into the corner of that tray. New South Wales getting kind of lulled into that trap of attacking a corner of a tray if you attack the centre and you miss. But that's a big flick. I'd be very surprised if that didn't go in. But it looks like the refs haven't seen it go in as WA clear it out. Number 11 for WA picking that one up and clearing it. Annika Keel there, good defensive movement from her. With Wang again, just recycling. He's played a real gentleman's half, Evan Wang. He's really playing for the team, which again, as I said, is disappointing. I like to see the Wang when he puts on his bat and tries to beat 6 players, but I guess you can't always get what you want. As that WA right wing drives it in a concerted effort down that right wall. And takes ownership of it, but New South Wales have managed to stall that movement. It looks like they're coming back for another lateral drive, but congested again by WA, who are happy just to feed that contest on the wall. I think maybe a little bit concerned about the lateral movement from New South Wales, which we see now. They're straightening up pretty early on, and the WA backs haven't been forced out of position, so they're happy just to sit there and collect it as they are entering the Bermuda Triangle of our cameras. We can tell there from the player movement, though. It's in that classic kind of sitting out maybe 10 metres on the left-hand side in that defensive kind of area, just outside the line of the 6-metre D, just congested. With a flick coming out from New South Wales, who obviously won that contest. Evan Wang there desperately, this kind of like bum very high off the ground with a big randomised flick backwards to presumably a player on his team. But again, I hate to say it, I would like to see Evan Wang put that puck on his bat and maybe take a trip down to the deli and look for some sangers. But it looks like WA, great concerted effort there where they've got a lot of numbers around the puck, and this could be the quick goal that I was talking about that will bring them back into the game. Looking at the clock, 40 seconds to go, this could just be a goal for Pride as they've pushed it into the tray. Great reload by Sam Blackham there, and that's a goal. With 30 seconds to go, it looks like that'll be the score at full time, 4-3. But anything could happen. It could be an absolutely massive effort from either one of these teams to put another goal, big spear. Could happen. But that was a great goal from Sam Blackham. She ended up on that corner, which can be an awkward spot, and it's always a bit of a trap for a junior player. It's always important to attack the centre of the goal tray, because then if you do get deflected, you'll end up putting it in the tray anyway. But Sam Blackham able to kind of tuck it up under her elbow with that big circular motion and reload it and put it in the tray. But that did, looks like full time. New South Wales taking advantage of that full 30 seconds you get to swim back to the wall. And they've locked in that win, 4-3 against WA. Great effort by both teams, particularly WA, who had a lot of control. I imagine they'd be not too disappointed with that effort. Maybe just working on their working on the way that they feed the scrimmage a lot will get them some better results in the future.